Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Life-Changing True Stories today. I bring you a powerful and deeply loving story asterisk. The grand ballroom of the Marina Bay Hotel sparkled with crystal chandeliers and flowing silk drapes. Emma Chen smoothed her emerald green dress as she entered, her heart already racing from the crowd. She had flown from Kuala Lumpur specifically for Rachel's wedding, her closest friend from university days. The last thing she expected was to see him here. Daniel Parks stood near the champagne fountain, his tailored navy suit fitting perfectly across his broad shoulders. At 32, he had become everything the business magazines said he would be: rich, successful, untouchable. His family's technology empire had tripled since she last saw him. His face occasionally graced the covers of finance journals. But Emma remembered a different Daniel. One who laughed easily and dreamed of simple things like weekend road trips and cooking together, Mama. Look at all the flowers, Lily tugged at Emma's hand, her eyes wide with wonder. The 6-year-old wore a turquoise dress that complemented her mother's outfit, her dark hair pulled into neat braids with small white ribbons. Emma bent down to her daughter's level. Beautiful, aren't they? Remember what we talked about? We need to find Auntie Rachel first. But Lily had already spotted something more interesting. A chocolate fountain near the desert table beckoned, and before Emma could stop her, the little girl darted toward it with the determined speed only children possess. Lily. Wait, Emma called out, weaving through clusters of wedding guests. That's when it happened. Lily collided directly into Daniel's legs, nearly toppling over. His reflexes were quick, and he caught her before she fell, his hands steadying her small shoulders. Whoa there, careful, Daniel said, looking down at the child. Then he froze. Emma watched in slow motion as recognition dawned across his face. She saw his eyes trace over Lily's features. The same dark eyes he saw in his own mirror every morning. The same slight dimple in her left cheek that his father had, that he had inherited. The same way her eyebrows arched when she looked up curiously. Thank you, Mr. Lily, said politely, exactly as Emma had taught her. I was trying to reach the chocolate. Daniel's gaze moved from the child to Emma, who had finally reached them. The color drained from his face. Emma, he whispered, the name barely escaping his lips. Daniel, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. 7 years of practicing this moment in her mind had not prepared her for the reality of it. The wedding celebration continued around them. Musicians played soft jazz. Guests laughed and clinked glasses. Servers moved gracefully with trays of appetizers. But in their small corner of the ballroom, time had stopped. Who is this? Daniel asked, though his voice already carried the weight of knowing. This is Lily, Emma said carefully, placing a protective hand on her daughter's shoulder. My daughter. How old are you, Lily? Daniel asked, kneeling down to the child's eye level. 6 3/4, Lily announced proudly. I'll be 7 in December. December 18th. Emma watched the calculation happen behind Daniel's eyes. December, 9 months after their last night together. The night before she disappeared from his life. The night his mother had given her the ultimatum that changed everything. Mama, do you know this man? Lily asked, tilting her head in that curious way children do. We knew each other a long time ago, sweetheart, Emma managed to say before I was born. Lily's questions were innocent but cut deep. Yes, before you were born. Daniel stood up slowly, his eyes never leaving Emma's face. She could see 1,000 questions forming, anger mixing with confusion, hurt blending with something that looked like hope. We need to talk, he said firmly. Not here, Emma replied, glancing around. Not at Rachel's wedding, Rachel Daniel, said the name slowly. Rachel knows, doesn't she? She knew you'd be here. She knew I'd be here. She's friends with both of us. Emma bit her lip. Rachel had indeed known, had even warned Emma that Daniel was on the guest list. But her friend had insisted that hiding forever wasn't the answer, that some confrontations were inevitable. Emma Chen, there you are. Rachel herself appeared, radiant in her white wedding gown. Her smile faltered slightly when she saw the scene before her. Oh, you two have met? Met? Daniel's voice rose slightly before he controlled it. We need to talk, Rachel. Did you plan this? I planned a wedding, Rachel said diplomatically. What my guests do at that wedding is their own choice. Emma, darling, could you help me with something in the bridal suite? Lily can stay with the flower girls. They're having cookies in the children's area. It was an obvious rescue attempt, and Emma gratefully accepted it. Lily, Go with Auntie Rachel's assistant. I'll be right back. But I wanted chocolate, Lily protested. I'll make sure she gets some, Daniel said suddenly. His voice was gentle when he spoke to Lily, and it broke something inside Emma's chest. I promise. Lily studied him with the serious expression children use when deciding if an adult is trustworthy. Whatever she saw on his face satisfied her because she nodded. Okay? You promise? I promise, Daniel said. And Emma noticed he was fighting back emotion. As Lily walked away with the wedding assistant, Daniel turned back to Emma. The garden terrace. 5 minutes. We're having this conversation whether you like it or not. He didn't wait for her response before walking away, his stride purposeful and tense. Rachel squeezed Emma's hand. You knew this day would come. I wasn't ready, Emma admitted, her hands trembling. You had 7 years to get ready. It's time, Emma. That little girl deserves to know her father. And he deserves to know he has a daughter. Mother made it very clear what would happen if I ever came back, Emma said bitterly. His mother doesn't control him anymore, Rachel revealed. Daniel cut her out of the business 3 years ago after discovering she'd been manipulating his relationships. He's been looking for you, Emma? He never stopped. This news hit Emma like a physical blow. He looked for me. Hired investigators and everything. But Emma Chen from Kuala Lumpur, with a new company and a child? You covered your tracks well. Emma closed her eyes. 7 years of running, of building a new life, of protecting Lily from a family that had threatened to destroy them both. And now, it was all unraveling in the middle of a wedding reception. I should leave, Emma said. I can take Lily and go back to the hotel. Can, Rachel agreed. Or you can face this. Whatever happened 7 years ago, whatever his mother did, Daniel deserves the truth, and so does Lily. Emma thought of her daughter who had asked about her father countless times. The bedtime questions about why she didn't have a daddy like other kids. The school projects about family trees that left an empty space. The way Lily's face lit up whenever they saw fathers and daughters together at the park. He said 5 minutes. Then you better go, Rachel said gently. I'll watch Lily. The garden terrace overlooked the Singapore skyline, the city lights beginning to twinkle as evening approached. Daniel stood at the railing, his back to her, hands gripping the metal so tightly his knuckles were white. She's mine, he said without turning around. It wasn't a question. Emma's throat tightened. Yes, 7 years. His voice cracked. 7 years you kept my daughter from me? Your mother gave me $500,000 and told me to disappear, Emma said, her own anger finally surfacing. She said if I didn't take the money and leave Singapore, she'd make sure I never saw my baby again. She had lawyers, Daniel. Documents ready to prove I was an unfit mother. Witnesses prepared to testify. I was only after your money. Daniel spun around, his face a mask of fury and pain. My mother did what? You didn't know? Emma searched his eyes and saw genuine shock there. I thought you left me, Daniel said hoarsely. I came back from that business trip in Tokyo, and you were gone. Your apartment was empty. Your phone was disconnected. Your friends said you'd moved abroad for work. I searched everywhere. Wedding music drifted out to them, a romantic melody that seemed cruel given their conversation. She told me you'd sent the messages, Emma revealed. That you'd decided I wasn't good enough for the Park family. That your business came first, and I was just a distraction. I never sent any messages. Daniel stepped closer. Emma, I was going to propose when I got back from Tokyo. I had the ring and everything. The words hung between them. Heavy with lost possibilities. I was 2 months pregnant when I left, Emma continued, tears finally falling. Scared, alone, and convinced you wanted nothing to do with us. Your mother's lawyers found me in Kuala Lumpur a month after Lily was born. More threats, more money offered, more legal papers designed to terrify me. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. She destroyed everything. She protected her empire, Emma said bitterly. I was nobody from nowhere, remember? The scholarship girl who worked 3 jobs through university. Not exactly Park family material. You were everything. Daniel's voice broke completely. You were the only real thing in my life. They stood there as the sun set over Singapore. 2 people whose lives had been shattered by lies and manipulation, their daughter playing innocently inside, unaware that her world was about to change forever. The garden terrace had become their confessional, a space where 7 years of secrets began to spill out like water from a broken dam. Daniel ran his hands through his hair, a gesture Emma remembered from their years together. He always did that when overwhelmed, when the world pressed too hard against him. "Tell me everything," Daniel said, his voice raw. "From the beginning. I need to know what my mother did." Emma leaned against the stone railing, gathering the courage to revisit the worst period of her life. The city lights below seemed to pulse with her heartbeat, each memory a sharp edge she had to navigate carefully. "It started the week you left for Tokyo," Emma began. "Your mother invited me to lunch. I thought it was strange because she'd barely acknowledged my existence in the 2 years we'd been together. But I went, hoping maybe she was finally accepting me." Daniel's jaw tightened, but he remained silent, letting her continue. "She took me to that expensive French restaurant downtown, the one with the private rooms. Everything was polite at first. She asked about my work at the marketing firm, about my family back in Kuala Lumpur. Then she ordered dessert and slid an envelope across the table. Emma could still picture that envelope, cream-colored and heavy with consequence. Inside was a check for $500,000 and a plane ticket to Kuala Lumpur. She told me it was a gift, a way to help me start fresh. When I refused, her whole demeanor changed. She pulled out another envelope, this one full of documents. Affidavits from people I'd never met claiming I'd been sleeping with other men. Fabricated evidence of drug use. A psychological evaluation somehow obtained under my name declaring me unstable. "That's illegal," Daniel interrupted, his voice sharp with anger. "Legal doesn't matter when you have unlimited resources and connections," Emma said sadly. She told me she could bury me, that if I didn't leave quietly, she'd make sure I lost everything, including any claim to you or your life. The memory of that conversation still had the power to make Emma's hands shake. She remembered the cold smile on Mrs. Parks's face, the casual way she had threatened to destroy a young woman's entire existence. "I still refused," Emma continued. "I told her I loved you, that we could build our own life without her money or approval. That's when she showed me the messages." "What messages?" Daniel stepped closer. "Text messages supposedly from you. They were on her phone, complete with your contact photo and number. Messages saying you were tired of slumming it with someone beneath your status? That Tokyo had reminded you of your real responsibilities? That when you returned, we were done." Emma watched Daniel's face cycle through disbelief, rage, and devastation. "I didn't know about the pregnancy yet," Emma whispered. "I found out 2 weeks after I had already left Singapore. I was in my mother's old apartment in Kuala Lumpur, trying to figure out how to start over. The doctor confirmed it, and my whole world shifted again." "You should have told me," Daniel said, though his tone held more pain than accusation. "I tried," Emma's voice broke. "I sent emails to every address I had for you. I called your office a dozen times. Every message was blocked, every call was screened. Then I received a legal letter from Park Industries law firm. It stated that any attempt to contact you would result in legal action. That you had been informed of my pregnancy and wanted nothing to do with the child. That if I pursued any claim, you would fight for full custody and had the resources to win." Daniel turned away, his shoulders shaking. Emma could see he was crying, something she'd only witnessed once before when his father died. "I was terrified," Emma admitted. "Pregnant, alone, in a foreign city, with no job and dwindling savings. Your mother's threats felt very real. So I did what I thought would protect my baby. I disappeared, changed my name back to my mother's maiden name. Chen, instead of Tan. Found work with a small startup that became moderately successful. Built a quiet life where nobody would think to look for Emma Tan, the girl who dated Daniel Park." Inside the ballroom, the wedding celebration had moved to dinner service. Through the glass doors, they could see Lily sitting at the children's table, laughing with other kids her age. She was animated, telling some story with wild hand gestures that made the other children giggle. "She looks like my father," Daniel observed, watching his daughter. "The same expressions, the same energy." "She has your intelligence too," Emma said softly. "Top of her class in everything. She taught herself to read before kindergarten. She's learning piano and speaks 3 languages already." Pride and grief warred across Daniel's face. "I missed all of it. First words, first steps, first day of school." "I took videos," Emma offered quietly. "Thousands of them. Photos too. I told myself I was documenting her childhood for me, but I think part of me always hoped that someday you'd want to see them." "I want to see everything," Daniel said fiercely. Every moment, every milestone. But Emma, 7 years. How do I get those back? You don't, she said honestly. We can't undo what happened, but we can decide what happens next. Daniel finally turned to face her fully. In the evening light, she could see the lines that hadn't been there 7 years ago. The weight of responsibility and loss that had aged him beyond his years. My mother, he said carefully, is no longer part of my business or my life. 3 years ago, I discovered she'd interfered in another relationship, paying off a woman I'd been dating. That's when I started investigating. I found the paper trails, the payoffs, the legal threats sent on company letterhead without my knowledge. She'd been manipulating my personal life for years. What did you do? Emma asked. I removed her from every position of power in the company. Set her up with a trust fund she can't touch beyond the monthly allowance. She lives in the penthouse she loves, but has no say in Park Industries anymore. My uncle runs operations now. Someone I trust. Emma processed this information. The all-powerful Mrs. Park reduced to a gilded cage. She should face consequences for what she did, Emma said. She has, Daniel replied. She lost her son. I haven't spoken to her beyond legal necessities in 3 years. She destroyed the thing she claimed she was protecting. A gentle knock on the glass door interrupted them. Rachel appeared looking apologetic. I'm sorry, but Lily is asking for her mama. She's getting tired. Emma glanced at her watch. They'd been talking for over an hour. Inside, the wedding reception was in full swing, but her daughter needed her. I should take her back to the hotel, Emma said. Where are you staying? Daniel asked quickly. The Riverside Hotel, room 314. That's 20 minutes from here, Daniel calculated. Stay Rachel reserved rooms here for out-of-town guests. You and Lily can rest upstairs, and tomorrow we can talk more. Really talk about everything. Emma hesitated. Staying meant confronting more truths, facing more painful conversations. But running had never actually solved anything, okay, she agreed. But Daniel, Lily doesn't know about you being her father. I need time to figure out how to tell her. I understand, he said, though she could see it hurt him. But Emma, I'm not waiting another 7 years. We figure this out together, starting now. They walked back into the ballroom together, an unspoken truce forming between them. Lily spotted Emma immediately and ran over, her earlier energy fading into tired grumpiness. Mama, I'm sleepy, Lily said, wrapping her arms around Emma's waist. I know, baby. We're going to stay here tonight in a special room upstairs, like a hotel adventure. Lily perked up slightly. Exactly like that. Emma smoothed her daughter's hair. Daniel watched this interaction with an intensity that made Emma's chest tight. She could see him memorizing every detail, every gesture, trying to catch up on 7 years in these small moments. Lily, Daniel said gently, kneeling down again. I got you that chocolate from earlier. Would you like it now, or should we save it for tomorrow? Lily considered this seriously. Tomorrow. Mama says chocolate before bed gives me wild dreams. Your mama is very smart, Daniel smiled, and Emma saw her daughter respond to his warmth. Are you Mama's friend from before? Lily asked directly. Yes. Daniel answered honestly. A very good friend. Did you make her sad? The question was innocent, but devastating. Mama sometimes cries when she looks at old pictures. Emma's breath caught. She hadn't realized Lily noticed. Daniel's eyes met Emma's over their daughter's head. Yes, I think I did make her sad. But I didn't mean to. Sometimes adults make mistakes. You should say sorry then, Lily advised with the simple wisdom of children. Mama always makes me say sorry when I do something wrong. You're absolutely right, Daniel said seriously. Emma, I'm sorry. For everything you went through, for every tear, for every moment you had to face alone. I'm so sorry. Emma couldn't speak past the lump in her throat, so she simply nodded. Rachel appeared again, this time with a key card. Room 517. It's a suite with 2 bedrooms. I had them send up some clothes and toiletries for both of you. Thank you, Emma managed to say, grateful for her friend's foresight. As Emma guided Lily toward the elevators, she felt Daniel's presence behind them. He didn't follow into the elevator, but he stood watching until the doors closed. Through the narrowing gap, Emma saw him raise his hand in a small wave. And Lily, sweet, innocent Lily, waved back enthusiastically. "I like that man," Lily announced as they ascended. "He has kind eyes like the daddies in my storybooks." Emma closed her eyes, tears finally spilling over. "Yes, baby, he does." The suite was beautiful, decorated in soft creams and blues. Lily was asleep within minutes of her head hitting the pillow, exhausted from the excitement. Emma sat on the balcony, looking out at Singapore's skyline and thinking about the possibility of their situation. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "It's Daniel. Rachel gave me your number. I know tonight was overwhelming. Take your time. But please don't run again. We'll figure this out." For Lily, Emma stared at the message for a long time before typing back. "I won't run. You're right. It's time to figure this out." For Lily, for the first time in 7 years, Emma felt the weight of secrecy begin to lift. Morning light filtered through the hotel curtains, painting the room in shades of gold and amber. Emma woke to find Lily already awake, sitting by the window and counting the boats in the harbor below. "Mama, there are 17 boats," Lily announced. "Well, 16 boats and one that might be a yacht. What's the difference between a boat and a yacht?" Emma smiled despite her exhaustion. She'd barely slept, her mind replaying every conversation with Daniel, every revelation, every missed year. A yacht is fancier, usually bigger, and it's definitely a yacht because it's huge, Lily decided with finality. A knock at the door made them both turn. Emma's heart raced, knowing somehow it would be Daniel. She opened the door to find him standing there with a breakfast cart, looking uncertain in a way she'd never seen before. "I wasn't sure what Lily liked," Daniel said, gesturing to the cart loaded with pastries, fruits, cereals, and various breakfast items. "So I ordered everything." Lily peeked around Emma's legs, her eyes widening at the feast. "Everything? Even chocolate pancakes?" "Especially chocolate pancakes," Daniel confirmed, and was rewarded with Lily's brilliant smile as they ate breakfast together on the suite's balcony. Emma watched Daniel interact with their daughter. He was careful, attentive, asking questions about her favorite subjects in school, her friends, her hobbies. Lily, naturally talkative, responded enthusiastically,
telling him his yogi lessons, reality lessons.
Telling him about her piano lessons and her pet goldfish named Bubbles. Lily explained seriously, "Better than most people." "I'd like to meet Bubbles someday," Daniel said, and Emma caught the deeper meaning. He wanted to be part of their daily life, the mundane moments that made up a childhood. After breakfast, Lily was content to watch cartoons on the suite's television, giving the adults time to talk on the balcony. "I spoke with my lawyers this morning," Daniel began. "I want to be clear, Emma. I'm not trying to take Lily away from you. I know you're an amazing mother. Anyone can see how happy and well-adjusted she is." Emma relaxed slightly. That fear had haunted her all night. "But I want to be your father," Daniel continued. "Officially and in every way that matters. I want custody arrangements, yes, but more than that, I want to be present. Soccer games, school plays, bedtime stories, everything." "I live in Kuala Lumpur," Emma pointed out. "You live in Singapore. That's not exactly an easy commute." "Then I'll move," Daniel said simply. "Park Industries has offices in Kuala Lumpur. I can relocate the headquarters there if needed. Emma, I built that company into what it is today. I can run it from anywhere. You'd uproot your entire life." Emma was stunned. "My life has been empty for 7 years," Daniel said quietly. "I threw myself into work because it was the only thing that didn't remind me of you. Building the company, making deals, expanding into new markets, it was all just noise to fill the silence. Now I have a chance at something real. A daughter, and maybe, if you'll let me, a chance to rebuild what we lost." Emma's hands trembled around her coffee cup. "Daniel, we can't just pick up where we left off. We're different people now." "I know," he agreed. "You're stronger, more independent. You built a life and raised an incredible child on your own. And I'm different too. Less naive, more aware of how privilege can blind you to truth. But Emma, what we had was real. I've never felt that with anyone else. I loved you so much it destroyed me when I thought you'd rejected us," Emma confessed. "It took years to rebuild myself. I'm not sure I can risk that kind of pain again." "Then we go slow," Daniel suggested. "We focus on Lily first. Let me be her father. Let her get to know me. and we figure out the rest as we go." Before Emma could respond, Lily appeared in the doorway. "Mama, can we go to the zoo?" The man on TV said the Singapore Zoo has baby pandas. Daniel lit up. "You like pandas?" "I love all animals," Lily declared. "Especially the fluffy ones, and the scaly ones, and the ones with feathers." "Really? I just love animals." "Then we should definitely go to the zoo," Daniel said, looking at Emma for permission. Emma thought about saying no, about maintaining boundaries and taking things slow. But then she saw the hope in Lily's eyes and the barely concealed anticipation on Daniel's face, and she couldn't do it.
Okay.
She agreed. "But I need to buy Lily proper clothes first. We only packed for the wedding." "There's a shopping center connected to the hotel," Daniel offered. "We could go now." The morning became an unexpected adventure. Daniel followed them through children's clothing stores, offering opinions when asked and learning his daughter's preferences. Lily liked bright colors, comfortable fabrics, and anything with pockets. She refused dresses unless they had pockets. A practicality that made Daniel laugh. "Just like you," he observed to Emma. "You always said clothes without pockets were a conspiracy." Emma was startled that he remembered such a small detail. But as the day progressed, she noticed Daniel remembered many things. Her favorite flowers, how she took her coffee, the way she bit her lip when thinking hard about something. At the zoo, Lily's excitement was boundless. She dragged them from exhibit to exhibit, reading every information plaque and asking complicated questions about animal habitats and conservation. Daniel lifted her onto his shoulders so she could see over the crowd at the panda enclosure. "Ah!" And Emma's heart clenched at the sight. This was what she'd imagined 7 years ago. A family, together, sharing simple joys. "Mama, take a picture," Lily demanded. And Emma dutifully pulled out her phone. Through the camera lens, she saw what others must see. A handsome man with a little girl on his shoulders, both of them grinning at something the girl was pointing at. A family. They looked like a family. "Can I take one of all three of you?" An elderly woman offered, noticing Emma behind the camera. Before Emma could decline, Lily shouted, "Yes, please." Mama never gets to be in pictures. The woman took several photos, encouraging them to get closer together. Daniel's arm naturally came around Emma's waist, and Lily beamed from her perch on his shoulders. When Emma looked at the photos later, she barely recognized herself. She looked happy, genuinely happy, in a way she hadn't been in years. As afternoon faded to evening, they found themselves at the zoo's cafe, sharing ice cream and watching the sun set over the animal enclosures. Lily, tired from the day's adventures, leaned against Daniel's side, her eyes drooping. "This was the best day ever," Lily murmured. "Better than my birthday, even. We should do it again sometime," Daniel said carefully. "Tomorrow?" Lily perked up. "We have to go home tomorrow, baby," Emma reminded her gently. "But I don't want to leave," Lily protested. "Can't we stay longer, please?" Emma and Daniel exchanged the looks over their daughter's head. "What if," Daniel began slowly, "what if your mama and I figured out a way for us to see each other more often? Would you like that? Like every weekend?" Lily asked hopefully. "Maybe not every weekend at first," Emma interjected, "but regularly. And maybe if it's okay with you, Daniel could come visit us in Kuala Lumpur sometimes. He could meet Bubbles," Lily said excitedly, "and see my school, and my piano teacher, Miss Wang, and my best friend, Jasmine, and my room with all the stars Mama painted on the ceiling. I would love all of that," Daniel said, his voice thick with emotion. That evening, back at the hotel, Daniel helped Emma carry a sleeping Lily to their room. As Emma tucked their daughter into bed, Daniel stood in the doorway, watching with such tenderness that Emma had to look away. Outside the room, they talked in hushed voices. "Thank you," Daniel said, "for today, for letting me be part of her life, even just for one day." "She deserves to know her father," Emma replied. "I can't let my fear or my pain rob her of that." "And what about you?" Daniel asked. "What do you deserve?" Emma thought about the question. For 7 years, she'd focused solely on survival and on giving Lily the best life possible. She'd forgotten to consider what she might want for herself. "I don't know," she admitted. "I stopped thinking about my own happiness a long time ago, and maybe it's time to start again," Daniel suggested gently. "Not just for Lily, but for you too." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small notebook. "I wrote down everything I missed. Every birthday, every Christmas, every milestone. I can't get those moments back, but I want to make sure I don't miss any more. Tomorrow, you and Lily fly home. But next weekend, I'll come to Kuala Lumpur. The weekend after that, maybe Lily can come stay with me here. We build a routine, create stability for her. You really mean this? Emma said, studying his face. I've never meant anything more, Daniel assured her. I lost 7 years because of lies and manipulation. I won't lose another day by choice. Over the next 3 months, they built something new. Daniel came to Kuala Lumpur every other weekend, staying in a hotel nearby, but spending every free moment with Lily and Emma. He attended Lily's piano recitals, helped with homework, and learned to braid hair through YouTube tutorials that made Lily giggle. On alternate weekends, Lily flew to Singapore with Emma, and they explored the city together. Daniel introduced his daughter to his uncle, who became Grandpa Thomas to Lily's delight. Slowly, carefully, they created a blended life. Emma watched Daniel transform from the businessman she'd once known into a devoted father. He learned Lily's favorite bedtime stories, her fear of thunderstorms, her love of silly jokes. He was patient with her questions, encouraging with her dreams, and unconditionally loving in every interaction. And somewhere in those months of co-parenting, Emma felt her own walls beginning to crumble. She noticed the way Daniel looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. She caught herself laughing more, smiling easier, feeling lighter than she had in years. One evening, after putting Lily to bed during a Singapore weekend, they found themselves alone on Daniel's apartment balcony, overlooking the city they'd both once called home. I've been thinking, Daniel said carefully, about what comes next. For us, I mean, not just as Lily's parents, but as Emma and Daniel. Emma's heart raced. What about us? I still love you, Daniel said simply. I never stopped. These past months, getting to know you again, seeing the incredible woman and mother you've become, I've fallen in love with you all over again. But more than that, I like you. I like spending time with you. I like the life we're building together. Daniel, Emma breathed, torn between hope and fear. I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow, he continued. I'm not even asking you to move here, though I'd love that eventually. I'm just asking if you think maybe we could try, really try. Not just for Lily, but for us. Emma thought about the past 7 years of loneliness, of building a life around an absence. She thought about the past 3 months of slow healing, of watching Daniel prove through action that he was committed. She thought about Lily's face when they were all together, how complete their daughter looked. I'm scared, Emma admitted. What your mother did, what we lost, it left scars. I know, Daniel took her hands. I have scars too. But Emma, I'd rather face the fear with you than spend another day living half a life. Okay, Emma whispered. Okay, we can try. Daniel pulled her into his arms, and Emma let herself be held. For the first time in 7 years, she felt truly safe. Inside. Neither of them noticed Lily peeking through the curtains, smiling at her parents before returning to bed. She'd been wishing on stars for months that Mama and Papa would stop looking so sad. Maybe, finally, her wishes were starting to come true. 6 months later, Daniel officially relocated Park Industries headquarters to Kuala Lumpur. He bought a house 10 minutes from Emma's apartment, close enough to be involved but respecting Emma's independence. Lily split her time between both places, and gradually, naturally, the three of them became a family unit. They still had difficult days. Emma's trust was hard-won, and Daniel had to prove himself repeatedly. They attended therapy together, working through the trauma of their separation. They had arguments about parenting styles, about boundaries, about how to handle Daniel's mother when she eventually wanted contact with her granddaughter. But they also had beautiful days. Picnics in the park where Lily played while they talked for hours. Movie nights where they all fell asleep on the couch together. Birthdays and holidays celebrated as a complete family. Small moments of joy that stitched together the fabric of their new life. On Lily's 8th birthday, Daniel surprised them both. After the cake was cut and presents opened, he knelt down in front of Emma while their daughter watched with wide eyes. I know we said we'd go slow, Daniel began. But Emma, these past 18 months have been the happiest of my life. Not because everything was perfect, but because we built something real together. We faced our past, worked through our pain, and created something beautiful. I don't want to wait anymore to make it official. He pulled out a ring, simple and elegant. Will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and Lily's father, officially and forever? Emma looked at her daughter, who was practically vibrating with excitement. Then back at Daniel, the man who had found them again, who had fought for them, who showed up every single day. Yes, she said through happy tears. Yes, to all of it. Lily cheered, launching herself at both of them. They tumbled to the floor in a heap of laughter and tears, a family bound not by perfection, but by perseverance. The wedding was small, held in a garden with close friends and family. Lily served as both flower girl and ring bearer, taking her duties very seriously. Rachel stood as Emma's maid of honor, whispering, "I told you this wedding would work out." Even Daniel's mother attended, seated in the back row. She'd sent letters of apology to Emma, worked with therapists to understand her controlling behavior, and was slowly, very slowly, being allowed supervised visits with Lily. Forgiveness was a process, but they were trying, as Emma and Daniel exchanged vows with Lily standing between them. Emma thought about the journey that had brought them here. 7 years of pain, months of healing, and now a future full of possibility. "I promise," Daniel said, holding both Emma's hands and Lily's, "to never let anyone or anything separate us again. To fight for this family every single day. To be the father and husband you both deserve." "I promise," Emma replied. "To trust this love, to believe in second chances, and to build a life with you based on truth and commitment. And I promise," Lily added, making everyone laugh, "to always tell you when you're being mushy." Lily sealed their promises with a kiss, the three of them. A family made whole not by an easy path, but by choosing each other every single day as they walked down the aisle together. Hands joined, Emma realized something profound. The millionaire who saw his ex at a wedding had indeed been frozen in shock. But that shock had thawed into something warm and real. A second chance that neither of them had thought possible. Their story wasn't about perfection. It was about persistence, forgiveness, the kind of love that survives even when it seems impossible. And as Lily skipped between her parents, secure in the knowledge that she was loved and wanted, Emma knew they'd done something right. They'd taken broken pieces and created something beautiful. The end wasn't really an ending at all. It was a beginning, one they would write together, one day at a time. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to click like, share this story with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more meaningful stories.